Hello guys, welcome to yet another episode of Sports Focus Show. I am Sarah Michi and I'm going to be your host. Today I'm joined by Ainom Gisha Michael, a global podcaster, and Ronald, a CEO and also a sports content creator. So Ronald, tell us about what has been happening. What happened yesterday when Uganda Cranes played?
Well, Uganda had a match on Sunday against Algeria away in Cameroon. The game basically it's the second last game of the group campaign where Uganda lost 2-1 to Algeria with 2 goals scored by Muhammad Elamin Amura in first half and in second half. But generally, if you look at the way Uganda Cranes played that game, there's an element of identity lacking with the team. And in first half, we were very sloppy with the passes and all that stuff. Our possessions were not right. It's like we didn't have a game plan in general. But there was an error by the goalkeeper, Salim Jamal Magola, who tried to flap the ball after a shot. But then Amura got in the box and beat the defenders and scored that goal. So I think basically the problem we had with the team was that we lacked an identity. We didn't have a game plan for Algeria, despite the fact that Algeria used its second 11. You get? So Algeria used its second 11, but they still managed to come a better team than us. So I think the problem generally lies with the game identity of Uganda. You can even come back to the league and look at how we play in the league. We don't have an identity in the league. You look at teams, the way they play, there's always a lot of kicking the ball up and there's no baseline football. So I think it's very much to do with the identity. That's why we conceded those goals.
So Michael, what do you have to say about what happened in the game?
When it comes to Uganda Cranes, the stories will continue being the same over and over again. Maybe to remind you, Uganda Cranes is the team where we cannot have a reliable lineup. Things keep changing all the time. I understand we have a lot of talents in the country, but you look at the starting 11, we had a lot of new entries in the first 11. From defense, you can see Semakula. Well, he's been playing very well with Gift Fred at AC Villa, which to me was a good partnership when it comes to factors of consideration. You're playing players that have been playing together in the league, but they are not consistent. Even you look at the mistakes they've been doing at Villa, they bring the same kind of playing style at the national team, it will cost us. And Algeria, there's a way they kind of undermine the national team, bringing the second team, and again it beats us by 2-1 in a game which we wanted by do or die. If we won that game, maybe our chances of qualifying will be up there. But now we are back in the Chivaro. Yeah, we are playing. If Tanzania doesn't win, we have to win. You know, those things.
Dependent variables.
Those variables, they are not good in football. You have to be consistent in whatever you're doing. You come for the game, you want to win, get it. If you want a draw, you know Algeria is a hard team to play against. But if you come you're looking for a draw, get it. That's it. But you come with things like you want to defend the game. You can't defend the game when the game is just beginning, you know. So we lack something when it comes to consistency.
So what do you think? Because if you look at Algeria, it scored more than Uganda. What do you think Uganda is lacking as a team?
It will go back to consistency and the coach's decisions. Fine, you brought team players that have been on form in the local league. I saw Kasim Rogers Mato was playing, and he's been on form in the league. Gift Fred at AC Villa, they were almost winning it in the Uganda league. Kenneth Semakula at Villa, he's been playing very well. But I'm seeing players like Okwi, I'm not well versed with his performances, but I believe another player would be better in that position. Alan Okello has been playing very well at KCCA. Bring those players, they are young talents, and he knows players in Algeria. He has once played in Algeria. He will know how to handle the defenders because they brought the second team. I think the coach made some mistakes somehow.
Okay, Bernard, what do you have to say about what Uganda is doing right or what Uganda is doing wrong? Where do they need to improve? Where do they need to better like Algeria did?
Well, to add on what Michael talked about, the young players, if you check on that game very well, in first half, we were very sloppy with our passing and performance in general. But in second half, when they brought in the young lads, the Richard Baswangwa, Isma Mugulusis, and Travis Mutiaba, those boys actually, they came with a new energy in the game, and they tried to, pose more threat to Algeria as a team. And basing on the way they played in second half, I think Uganda needs to start giving more time to the young lads as well. But moving away from that, I think we need to give more game time to the players. If you look at the Uganda Cranes team, we have players like Okwi, who plays in Iraq. We have players like Fadbai, who plays in Czech Republic. We have players out in different leagues, and these players only come once in a while to play for Uganda Cranes against organized teams like Algeria. So I think prior to games like that, we need to create competitive pre-match competitions for these teams. I understand we had one against DR Congo where we lost 1-0, but we need to have enough competitive games that will enact these boys to perform together steadily. Because if you watch that game yesterday, somebody would tell that the team is comprised of players who are not used to playing with each other. People are fidgeting around with each other. Somebody doesn't understand his partner. He gives the pass and the guy misses out. So there's that element of not understanding each other in the team. And I think that we can all achieve that by giving the boys more competitiveness in terms of friendlies and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you. This has been a Sports Focus show. And here I have Ainomgisha, Michael, and Ronald.
You are watching UCU Focus TV.
Away from Uganda Cranes, let's talk FUFA TV Cup. So Ronald, what do you have to say about this whole scenario?
Well, the FUFA TV Cup involving the traditional schools kicked off 1 week ago, but in the course of last week we had the second leg for the teams that played. The first game of the second leg was between Busoga College, Mwiri taking on Jinja College, and that game ended in a 1-1 draw. So Jinja College progressed with a 2-1 lead. And then the next was between Kira College Butiki and Namilyango College at Namilyango, where Kira College Butiki edged Namilyango College at their home soil 1-0. So as well, Kira College Butiki progressed with a 3-1 goal lead. And then Mengo SS hosted Makere College School at Mengo Grounds, where they managed to beat Marcos 1-0. Then the final game was on Friday, where King's College would hosted St. Mary's College Kisubi. And St. Mary's College Kisubi managed to beat King's College on their home soil 1-0 as well. So I think popping into the semi-finals, we have SMAC, Mengo SS, Kira College Butiki, and Jinja College. And then those schools that went out of the inaugural competition was basically Namilyango College, Makere College School, King's College Budo, and Busoga College Buri.
Okay, so Michael, what are the relevancies of this whole FUFA TV Cup? What do you think its relevance is?
Yeah, previously I was listening to one of the local radio stations, and on this show they had organizers. Actually quoted his words right, and I like the style of coming up with such a competition. For example, we've been having Coca-Cola, which covers all the schools on the national calendar when it comes to football. When it comes to the FUFA TV Cup, it's a new version of high schools, but this time around they are focusing on traditional schools. Traditional schools, they realize they don't invest in sports when it comes to other football clubs. Take a scenario, when it comes to Chitende, someone might see it as an academy of a club like Sports Club Vipers. So if you look at a club like College Butiki, where previously Uganda Cranes had to trace young talents to come on the national team, they no longer do that. They are now focusing on a few schools, living on the schools that previously provided talents for the national team. So coming up with such a version which allows schools to come and play football, like students engage in football freely and compete on the national level without any kind of influence that if I'm a talent, I'm from Butiki, Chitende sports me, they will take me. I will leave the other school vulnerable when it comes to football. But coming up with the FUFA Cup TV, it means that even Boutique now will insist on having me pray for this competition.
So it's more like an increased sourcing.
Yeah, increased sourcing. Yeah, right.
Increased sourcing for the team. You know, like we've been having the FUFA lower leagues, the leagues for the junior teams of the clubs. And then now we have the secondary school games. They've changed the name from Coca-Cola now. It's now the National Secondary School Games.
Yeah, true.
But then now FUFA has introduced the FUFA
FUFA
TV Cup for the traditional schools. One, the traditional schools haven't been performing in the Coca-Cola.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. For some reasons.
But back in the days, they used to.
Okay.
Yeah, but the coming of schools like St. Mary's, Chitende, Chibuli,
competition,
and other schools, it made it more stiff for those traditional schools to go. For
compete.
example, in the Kisubi zone, St. Mary's College, Kisubi, wouldn't even pass from the zone, you know?
Yeah.
And then from Namilyango
Just
this side,
in Entebbe
yeah,
zone,
in Mukona this side, Namilyango College had cries about dynamic cases.
It's just
It was like a thumping every time they made dynamic cases. Like, I think if you look at the structure of the Coca-Colas, how it was stationed, you know, those teams like St. Mary's, Chitende you talked about, Chibuli SS, they would have students that are linked with some clubs and they're playing for the schools at the same time. And those things are not at Namilyango College. You won't find it in St. Mary's College, Chisubi. So I think this new competition was brought to give students that were not sourced an opportunity to showcase their talent. Yeah, because imagine playing St. Mary's Chitende, which has a squad of players linked with Vipers, SC Villa.
For example, you look at Zaga. Zaga was playing for Chitende and was playing for
Bobo
Vipers.
Sibirahanga. He was at St. Mary's Chitende and playing for Vipers at the same time. But we don't have this at St. Mary's College Chisubi. We have students that went to St. Mary's College Chisubi with a view of maybe joining the national team one day as well, but maybe they didn't have it because the platform wasn't there for them. So the FUFA TV is basically to bring more opportunity to source players. You know, because in Uganda we have a lot of talent. We have young talent, and it's better to create more competitions to give them to those ones that didn't have it before.
You are watching UCU Focus TV.
Welcome from that short break. During the weekend, there have been a lot of sports activities happening, and I would like to know, Ronald, what has been your favorite or your best highlight over the weekend?
Well, by the weekend, we've been having European qualifiers happening. One of the top games that happened was England against Malta. That happened in Malta, where England managed to win that game. But something that happened very phenomenal about that game was that Trent Alexander-Arnold was played in the midfield. And different pundits were talking of that being his new position. Actually, I read comments from people saying they should start using Henderson, Bellingham, Rice, and Trent Alexander-Arnold because of his compatibility. You know, he actually scored a goal, and his transition forward was very good. I don't know if it's because they were playing Malta and stuff like that, but you know, Malta is a lower team compared to so
compared to the performances
I don't want the England fans to get carried away by that game because Malta is basically a lower team and you can't compare their strength to Germany and Belgium and all that stuff. So Trent playing very well in midfield doesn't guarantee him to be
tried over and over again.
Yeah, so maybe the next game they're going to have, they should try him in that position as well. But generally, France also had a game and they managed to win it as well, where Mbappe scored a goal. Giroud as well was on the score sheet.
Yes, right.
But my top highlight of the weekend was the UEFA Nations League final, where Croatia was playing Spain. Well, Spain managed to win that game 5-4 in penalty after full time ending 0-0. I think basically Spain is having a stable team at the moment compared to Croatia.
The rebuild is working.
The rebuild is working. If you look at the forward line, you know, Morata has been there, but now the backups of Jeremy Pino, Asensio, Marcus Asensio as well. Those players have been phenomenal for their clubs. Though they haven't won silverware last season, but they've been phenomenal for their club. But I think the midfield as well worked very well. You know, Rodri is from winning Champions League, and he has been very instrumental for Man City as well.
Even scoring the winning goal.
Yeah, scored the winning goal. So I think Spain basically is steadily progressing and coming back to their heights again. And Croatia has been the unlucky team for the past 5 years.
Yeah, losing the third final.
Losing the third final, yeah.
So Michael, what's your take about what happened or what transpired over the weekend?
All right. As much as we had the UEFA Nations League, the CONCACAF, Confederation of American Football Association, Federation, no sorry, they also had their own version of Nations League, and this is Canada playing against the United States. We had Florian Barrogan from Arsenal, who is on loan in France, playing for the UMSNT. Yeah, yes, US men's team scoring a goal, which is a good thing for him.
Scored his
debut goal and a goal in the final. It is so much important for him and for the national team.
But I think in that game you should need to give strong credits to Reina.
Gio Reyna.
Gio Reyna.
Previously he had issues with injuries and coaching staff not supporting him.
He was very creative in
But
that game.
you can't take away from that, because even Dortmund, by the time he picked up that performance, was at the top of the game. Yeah, Dortmund was performing well, and he comes on the national team, and in America they win the CONCACAF Nations League. It is such a big highlight for me, and to someone who has been watching Chris Richards defend at Crystal Palace, the way he came from injury and after losing it in the Bayern Munich team, coming to Premier League, and you know Premier League, it's very hard to adapt that quickly. Chris Richards scoring that header against Canada in the 12th minute, it was a big highlight for me over the weekend. And there's another wave. I think we shall talk about that when it comes to transfers, how players are going to Saudi Arabia. There's been a highlight for me over the weekend, besides the results and UEFA Nations League and the CONCACAF Nations League. But the weekend was really, really entertaining when it comes to sports, and we had a few AFCON qualifiers that we talked about in the first segment.
You are watching UCU Focus TV.
Welcome from that break. Thanks for keeping it locked on UCU Focus TV. And today, as Michael has been saying, we have been talking about, you last said something about the transfers.
Yeah, sure.
And I wanted you to say more about it or give me the highlights of what has been happening.
We had the transfers, breaking news over the weekend. N'Golo Kante is going to Saudi Arabia. We've had Karim Benzema, which shocked me actually. It shocked me to see one of the Ballon d'Or recent winner going to Saudi Arabia. And we are having news actually. We are almost seeing Koulibaly, captain of the Senegalese national team, going to Saudi Arabia, which is so much interesting in the world of sports. We are seeing sports now going global. We've not been used to having players go to Saudi Arabia. But over the weekend, N'Golo Kante, it's a confirmed deal. Recently we had Karim Benzema, it's a confirmed deal. Koulibaly, it's almost complete. And before you know, by the end of today, this evening, maybe he will be already a player in the Saudi Arabian League. Besides that, last week we had Jude Bellingham. This is a confirmed deal. He's the new number 5 for the Real Madrid. Still, Man United is still linked to a few players. I think Ronaldo will talk about a few more transfers.
I think, you know, these countries are trying to cause impact, and impacts are caused in different ways. So Saudi clubs, for example, we have Al Ittihad, Jeddah.
Al Ittihad?
Yeah, it's interested in signing N'Golo Kante.
Yeah.
And it's offering him a 4-year contract with £100 million paid in the 4 years, span of 4 years. So I think it's basically a money thing. You know, football has become so monetized.
Yeah, commercialized. Players go for money most of the time.
The clubs and leagues with more money shall get the better players.
True.
And also one thing with the players that are moving, for example, Kalidou Koulibaly is linked with Al Hilal.
Yeah,
and then Ruben Neves.
It's a confirmed deal.
Yeah, it's a confirmed deal. He has signed a €50 million euros move
from Wolves.
From Wolves to Al Hilal. A player who has only played once in Europe, well at Porto. That was the last time he played in Europe, when he was at Porto.
Yeah.
But then from there he has never played in Europe again. But now he's moving to the Saudi League. That tells you a lot about the money factor. Yeah. So players are now moving to consolidate their careers because of the money that's coming in. Because I remember one time I watched an interview of Odion Igalo, and he was talking about the money he got in Premier League with Watford in 8 years was incomparable to the money he got in China in 2 years.
For just 2 years.
Yeah, for just 2 years in China. So that speaks a lot. Even players like Andre Ayew, while he was at Qatar with Al Sadd, he was earning
money.
over 200k per week compared to the Premier League clubs. So I think basically it's money factor that's driving players to that Saudi league, and nothing is going to stop that as for now, because some of the players that are leaving the top leagues are players of age, players that are in 30s, and most European clubs don't give contracts to players that are aging. They give you they'll give you a 1 year extension or 2 at most. But the Saudi league is giving a player like N'Golo Kante 4 years,
4 years,
and paying him 100 million in the 4 year span.
Oh, that's something nice.
Yeah, so I think.
And each player at that age will like such a contract.
Yeah. You know, you're trying to consolidate your career, and
there's money already. Yeah.
So what a better way to earn more when you're ending your career?
Okay.
Yeah.
And then more about the transfers. Maybe I think I didn't mention Manchester United. We had a report from Reuters, one of the most trusted news sources, reporting that the bidder, Jashim, from Qatar, is in the final stages. They are discussing the exclusivity of the buying out of Manchester United. This transfer has started from way back last year, one of the longest bidding war for a club. It shows you that the consistency and the determination of Al Jashim from Qatar is actually consistent and determined to take over the team. This shows that we are yet to see Manchester United come back, because the fans are really ready for this. They have become vulnerable, that they will be able to accept whoever comes in for the club.
Actually, if to add, like, you know, the fans want the new owners to take over. I don't know, the problem now is with the owners themselves.
True.
I think they are trying to verify the circumstances of losing the club.
True.
You get? Yeah, so they're trying to verify, because
the money source,
I think they would have made the decisions quickly, but you know, they've tabled the 6 billion.
Yeah.
6 billion,
which is a lot of money for
it's a lot of money. But now the current owners, they're trying to verify and evaluate what is going to be their stake when they lose Manchester United to the Qatari guys. So I think that's the only factor that's prohibiting the
And
deal.
another thing, when it comes to teams that are owned by families, there's always that person who's not agreeing very fast. Because they say the younger brothers of the Glazers, because we know the old two brothers who are always active in the sporting activities of Man United, they are actually delaying the decision. But the young brothers of the young Glazers, actually, they want the money. They are tired of fighting with fans over the mismanaging of such a big club. And it shows you that actually clubs are more variable. Man United, if you look at, I have not seen any clip showing a dressing room. Sources say that it is actually in a poor state. It means how hungry Jashim is actually taking over the club. This is such an amazing news for any Man United fan. It has lost performance in the Europe. They last won a Premier League in 2013. It gives them hope that maybe there will be investment in the infrastructure, in the coaching teams, in signings, and in the general performance of the club.
Restructuring.
It will be a huge restructuring. Actually, Old Trafford. People say Old Trafford is unrefurbishable. You can't refurbish that stadium. So these new owners, there could be new owners. The fans actually request a rebuild or building another stadium.
Okay.
Which is great news.
Thank you so much, guys. We had a lot to say about what has been happening or transpiring in the sports world. But not forgetting to join us on our, or liking our and commenting on our social media platforms, on our Twitter pages. I have been Sarah Michi, your host, and I have been joined by Michael, Ainom, Gisha, and Ronald. Thank you so much. Catch us on our next episode.